This is not about special treatment, but about working with biology, not against it. You know, when people work in alignment with their hormones, they're just more productive. We're happier, we're healthier, and we're more engaged in the workplace. So, you know, let's change the conversation from women dealing with their cycles to businesses thriving by understanding them. So menstrual tracking isn't just about knowing when your period is coming. This is often a question I get asked a lot by clients and women who are tracking, you know, oh, well, my period's just about to come, or I'm due next week. And we sort of forget about all of the other amazing phases that happen within our cycle journey. And it's actually about unlocking your natural energy, unlocking the energy rhythms to work with your body and not against it. So think of your cycle as your personal success roadmap. And I'm going to go through the four phases rather within your cycle. So you have the follicular phase, which is often known as your spring energy. And this can come right after your period. You get a fresh surge of energy and new ideas. And for me, this is my superwoman or super mama time when I plan those really big projects. Then you've got the ovulation phase, which is your summer energy, peak confidence, peak magnetism. A great time to schedule those big pitches, networking, because this is where you feel your most outgoing and your most articulate. And look, again, by tracking, every woman's going to know what that means for them at different phases of their cycle. Your luteal phase is your autumn energy. This is where I'm at right now. You're supposed to sort of generally feel maybe more introspective, but highly analytical. You know, I focus on my deep work strategy and problem solving. In the menstrual phase, this is often known as your winter energy. The body slows down, but intuition is high. This is, when you get to reflect, reevaluate, set those new intentions during this time. Now, look, I've taught this to so many women, and it's a game changer. Even in motherhood, I align my tasks with my cycle, and I don't push myself to do everything all of the time. I actually just lean in to my natural rhythms. This is a tough question for me because everybody always wants the answer, sort of in a nice packaged booklet, and it actually just begins with us. We don't go to work to be taught how to be human. We bring ourselves to work. So before businesses can create policies, there actually needs to be a shift in education and mindset. So the first thing that we need to do is actually educate ourselves. Menstrual health is not just a woman's issue. It's a human issue. Every leader, HR professional, and manager should actually have a basic understanding of hormonal health and its impact on productivity, creativity, and emotional regulation. Companies invest in leadership training. Why not include hormonal intelligence? The second is normalize open conversations. Most workplaces are actually built around men's hormonal cycles, which reset daily. But women's cycle follow a 28-day plus rhythm. And imagine if managers actually understood this. So in your follicular phase, the week before your period, this could be a great time for brainstorming and strategy. Ovulation phase, this is ideal for networking and business development. Your luteal phase before your period, the best for deep work and critical analysis. And your menstrual phase, a time for reflection and planning. And yes, in terms of discussing that with your manager, I think that will maybe, happen in a couple hundred years' time. But if you know this and if you're tracking this, you can better align your workflow and your productivity. Flexible work policies. Now, we know that there are various countries in the world that are already doing this. And instead of rigid structures, companies should allow cycle-conscious flexibility, such as remote work or lighter workloads during menstruation, more creative, high-energy tasks during ovulation, and menstrual leave, or the option, to work either at home or in the workplace. Now, a real-life example of this, I apply this in my own work and my parenting. I know that in my luteal phase, I might feel less patient. So I adjust my schedule to allow more solo work and reduce my high energy meetings. I give myself more time. So if I can adapt my business and home life to my hormones, imagine what companies could do with just a bit of awareness and structure. And then the last point would be communication inclusion standards across the company. So inclusions, it's not just a policy, it's a practice. Company needs to train managers on menstrual health and productivity, include hormonal wellness in corporate health programs, and encourage both men and women to be part of the conversation. This is not about special treatment, but about working with biology, not against it. You know, when people work in alignment with their hormones, they're just more productive. We're happier, we're healthier, and we're more engaged in the workplace. So, you know, let's change the conversation from women dealing with their cycles to businesses thriving by understanding them. People hear street kid. I was born on the streets of Brazil in Rio, and think that my biggest challenge was survival. But honestly, you know, the hardest part was living with a mother who carried so much trauma that it became my trauma. I faced physical and emotional abuse, and it left deep scars. But what I've learned is that pain doesn't define you. What you do with it does. And I chose to rewrite my story. I built a career in media, traveled the world, became a mother, and now I help others transform their lives. And my message to anyone struggling is your past is a chapter, not the whole book. You get to write the next page. Motherhood has actually been my greatest emotional intelligence training ground. I taught in many corporate environments pre having little humans. And when I actually birthed two amazing boys, and I'm going through the process of building a relationship with them and truly understand what it means to manage and cultivate your emotional intelligence, sort of working with your prefrontal cortex that's still developing right up into your 20s. I understand the true meaning of emotional intelligence. When my son is having a meltdown, I can't just tell him to calm down. You know, I have to model calmness, and I have to co-regulate with him. And leadership is the same. Emotional intelligence is about self-awareness, knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, and your emotional triggers. Empathy, actually understanding your team's challenges and creating a space where they can thrive. And adaptability, staying calm under pressure and leading with confidence. And the best leaders don't just manage people, they connect with them.